Hello and congratulations on getting access to this video course on getting traffic from Pinterest. This, of course, is video number 1, which is the introduction, and we're going to dive right in. First things first, I want to talk about the mindset, and we really want to focus on quality over quantity. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that this is not about how much traffic that you can get from your Pinterest images, but rather how much quality traffic that you can get from Pinterest. So as long as you're thinking of, okay, rather than getting thousands of traffic and thousands of visitors to my Pinterest, and while that is good, you would rather have 10 or 50 or even 100 people who are super targeted, who really want to learn more about your pin and more about what you're having to offer, rather than somebody who's just clicking to just click, if that makes sense. And of course, over time, you'll want to get thousands of high quality traffic as well. So here's a quick overview of what we're going to talk about in this video course. Video number 1 is, of course, this video. Video number 2 is the platform. So before we can actually talk about how to get traffic from Pinterest, you first and foremost have to understand how Pinterest works. Because a lot of times we assume that all social media platforms work very, very similar. And while yes, there is an element of truth to that, the reality is that Pinterest works very different compared to that of Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or any other social media platform as well. Then, of course, video number 3, we'll talk about quality and how to make sure that the images to your content and all of that is high quality. And what exactly do we mean by that? And what does the funnel look like from the point of attracting the person to pinning the image, to looking at the image, to getting them over to your content and all of that? Now, what that entails is congruency, which is what we're going to talk about in video number 4. Congruency basically means that everything is consistent from the images, attracting the right person, to getting them over to the content and giving them exactly what they want and what they desire and the reason for the click in the first place. Because believe it or not, a lot of people, when they create marketing campaigns, they totally forget about congruency. So they might make a certain image, but when they get people over to a piece of content, it is unrelated. And then, of course, they wonder why nobody is converting, because at the end of the day, it's not congruent. So we'll make sure that you're on the same page in terms of that and how that works in real life. Video number 5, we're going to talk about visual real estate matters. So visual real estate is essentially, in this case, an image. Now, how big should the image be? Should it be a small image? Should it be a large image? Which size converts the best? So we'll talk more about that in that particular video. Video number 6, we're going to talk about an attractive pin. So in other words, what should your images look like? And then on top of that, I'm sure you're asking, well, what exactly should I put in my images? Is there a formula? Is there a blueprint? And that's what brings us to video number 7, which is the anatomy, or in other words, a breakdown step by step of what every single image should contain at minimum. Video number 8, we'll talk about the reverse engineering hack. And this little hack here is going to help you figure out some ideas on different images, different angles, and all of that in terms of what you should create. Because a lot of times when you start from scratch, you're thinking, well, what kind of images are pin worthy, or what people would want to pin, what people would want to look at? Because you got to remember on Pinterest that you are competing with thousands of other people who have thousands of other amazing images. So if your image does not stand out, then it's going to be essentially put away and not even looked at, comparing to the other beautiful images, if that makes sense. And of course, last but not least, we got video number 9, which is pin automation. Essentially, this is a bonus video to show you how to automate the whole tedious, boring, time-consuming process. All right? So now let's talk about things that you will need to get started. So tools that you're going to need, what you're going to need to have in order to implement what's inside this video course. So obviously you're going to need to have a Pinterest account. You'll need to have a blog or a site with high quality content. If you don't have it right now, that's totally fine, but you will need to have one because you don't really want to direct people directly from your image directly to your sales page, because people don't know you. People are still warming up to you. So we'll show you a little bit more in terms of the funnel and how to set up your marketing campaign and all of that. But what the high quality content does is it creates a buffer between your sales page and the image or your opt-in page. So you get them on your list, they sign up, you build a relationship with them, and then you warm them up. So you got to remember, these are people that you don't know. These are not people that know you. And of course, this is optional, but you'll need some money if you want to make your images look professional and appealing. So if you're not a photographer and you don't really want to hire a photographer and go about doing that way, you can always purchase what we call royalty-free images that are already professionally made that can fit your niche. And we'll talk more about that in a later video. And of course, some money for optional tools, which we'll talk about in video number 9. All right, so with that said, let's move on to video number 2.